If you're like me, I bet you sometimes feel bad that you don't share what you believe as a Christian as much as you'd like. Sometimes it's because we're not well equipped. When I ask people why they don't share, some of these folks have even gone through, some of us have all taken classes in evangelism. I know I did as a new believer. You probably did too. Yet we still don't find ourselves sharing like we should, right? It turns out if you ask people, why don't you share even though you've been trained to do so, it usually comes down to some sense of fear. That I'm going to be caught flat-footed. I'm not quite sure what I would say if they ask a question. I don't want to look stupid. I hear these kinds of responses all the time when it comes to why people won't share what they believe as Christians. And I get that. I certainly have been there. That's why it's important for us to begin a process of training to get ready to make the case for what we believe. You'll be surprised at how much it'll help you and encourage you to actually start to make the case. I started by just mastering a simple idea. I believe as a police officer that there are objective, transcendent moral truths, and that these truths are obligations between persons. I think you have to have certain justifications before you can do certain things. Where do those ideas come from? Am I the source of those? Well, if that's the case, then if you disagree with me, there's nobody to arbitrate between us. So clearly those moral truths can't come from individuals. Do they come from people groups? Well, if that's the case, we can't argue if a different people group has a different set of moral truth claims. No, there's got to be something bigger than people groups. Is it nations? Well, if that's the case, why would we say that what Germany was doing in World War II was wrong? It can't be wrong. If the nation itself gets to decide if it's right, there's something that even transcends nations. If there's a Star Trek universe, there's something that transcends planets. There are some things you shouldn't do to Klingons or Romulans. Now, don't think about that for a second. If there's a source of moral law that transcends the entire universe, and if we know that all moral truth claims are actually obligations between persons, who is the objective, transcendent, moral person that is the source of the laws in the universe? When I started to think about that and kind of practice that in my head, it started to be something I would talk about with my friends who weren't believers. There's a set of disciplines that I can teach you that detectives actually use every day to investigate truth claims and then communicate them to juries that I think will help you be a better evangelist, a better Christian case maker, to live a more robust Christian life that'll move you from a blind faith to a forensic faith.